Everyone, as we continue to recap President Joe Biden's trip to Arizona, we're joined in studio tonight by two special guests to talk about the president's visit. Aaron Lieberman is a former Democratic candidate for Arizona governor, and Christine Jones is a former Republican candidate for governor. Thank you both for joining us here tonight on 12 News at 6 o'clock.
Thanks for having us.
So initial thoughts on President Biden's speech. I'll start. You guys can take turns.
I was going to defer to the Democrat, but I think generally speaking, it was what we expected. It was very campaign-oriented, lots of attacks on the MAGA extremists, and I think 6 or 8 references to that. From a Republican standpoint, I think still a mistake not to mention the border, still a mistake not to go to the border when you're in Arizona, but generally lovely that he had this relationship with John McCain. It was a genuine friendship, and he honored that friendship today. So I think, all around, that was well received by the Republicans.
All right, Aaron?
I thought it was a great speech and a great day for the president. He's playing a winning hand. It's a genuine friendship with McCain over multiple decades. You could tell that in the room with Mrs. McCain introducing him. And he also laid out the stakes. I mean, he brought it today in terms of talking about, we're talking about the soul of America. I think he had one line: you can't only like America when you win.
Yeah.
And that really kind of gets down to the heart of it. I mean, it was funny to see in your poll, only 13% of people don't know how they're going to vote. There's a lot of attention on those folks. They don't like the extremes, and I think that's exactly who President Biden was speaking to.
Yeah, how did you feel about him being so direct? I mean, he's been pretty quiet with all the Trump indictments. He hasn't really said too much, but he was very direct about talking about the extremist MAGA movement. How did you perceive that?
Well, the cynic in me says that was a deflection because the very first day of his impeachment hearing was going on at the very same time. So that was sort of like the squirrel. But I do think if he is to confront Trump with the Trump personality, coming at him head on is the right way to do it. And I don't think it's necessarily in the Joe Biden character because he's more of a genteel type, sort of old school politician. But he really, for the first time, I think, Aaron came directly at Trump and at the Trump supporters. We'll see whether that serves him well in the state of Arizona.
I thought it was well played. He didn't go after the indictments and all of that stuff. I think that feels like inside baseball or maybe piling on or hard to figure out who that really motivates. He went after, do you believe in the Constitution or not? I mean, this is a few weeks after Mitt Romney said, I think a majority of my party doesn't believe in the Constitution. That's what Joe Biden played and laid it right on the line. Like, do we believe in the Constitution? It was also really powerful. I mean, he just played back Trump's line, saying these are directly what the president has said. It's still heartbreaking. I almost had forgotten the line about Trump calling the soldiers buried in Normandy suckers, and then personalizing that to both Beau Biden and John McCain. Incredibly powerful for anyone who saw it. Certainly a low moment. I would hope even, President Trump would take that line back now if he could. But it just reminds people how extreme many of the things have come out of Donald Trump's mouth. And again, for that small slice of people who aren't super political or, maybe trying to decide which way to go, they don't like that type of extremism.
Arizona is going to play a pivotal role in 2024. He's been here twice in 2 months. What is the impact of making that speech here in Arizona, and what does it say for him as we move through this political process through next November?
So I think generally he was talking to his voters, and those people are already going to vote for him. What could close this gap a little bit more as he spends more time in Arizona, to your point, is actually talking to the slice in the middle that's waffling. And he has to address things that matter to people in Arizona to get that done, which includes, not to be redundant, but he's got to talk about the border. I think that's going to be critical in the Senate race. And because he's at the top of the ticket, he's going to be forced to talk about that. And so, how was it received? Very well by the people in the room. The Republicans right now are saying, yeah, but the border.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I'll just say, look, Biden was the first Democrat in over 20 years to win Arizona. I think he largely did it because he had the support of Cindy McCain, to be honest. It's those moderate Republicans where she came out unheard of. I mean, as all the years how close they were, and they never would endorse each other publicly in a general election. She came out for a Democrat. I think Kari Lake lost the governorship when she came out the day after the primary and said she stuck a heart in the McCain machine. Those people in the middle decide they love John McCain. I love John McCain as a Democrat in this state, and I don't think you can win as a Republican candidate in Arizona if you don't have the support of the folks who love John McCain, and that's what today was really about for President Biden.
All right, guys, thank you. Always a great discussion. Aaron Lieberman, Christine Jones, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you both.